One thing that I think all musicians need to be able to do, especially in this day and age, is to record yourself. You need to have a basic level of knowledge about recording software, microphones, and how to get the best sound out of your equipment for the right price. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about that and share my thoughts on how I achieve not quite a high quality studio recording, but something that's pretty close, and I'd like to think most musicians even couldn't tell the difference. So I'm going to go through a video that I recorded a couple weeks ago now, and I'm going to show you how I'm editing the audio. You heard a little bit of that at the beginning of this video, and that was the final product. But as we're going through, I'm going to be sharing you a screen recording of the presets that I'm using in Logic. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the microphones I'm using, the interface, and what everything costs. Now, the total of about all my equipment that I use is got to be under $500. And I like to think it's a pretty good sound for that amount of money. My microphones, they were pretty cheap. They are the MXL V250, which if you look online, they're like $250. Way, way overpriced. Never buy an MXL microphone at full price. It's not a great microphone when you compare it to other things, but for the money that I got it for, it was a pretty good deal. So I got it for $60 each. I have a set of them. And when I record, I think a really important thing to do is to set up your microphones in stereo configuration where you're recording your guitar or your other instrument from two angles. So you have two choices of different tones that you like to use. For guitar, it's pretty simple. I point one at the, let me get my instrument here. I like to point it at about this area back here, so between the end of the lower bout and the bridge, and that's picking up a lot of the bass and low mid frequencies. And then I'll point the other microphone right at where the neck meets the body, and say about 2 feet back, just so you don't have your hand hitting it and you don't get noise of your arm moving on the instrument. I used my Martin HD28 in this recording, which helps if you have a really nice instrument, but I've done it with cheaper instruments as well, and I think I get a pretty good sound from it. Some tools like compression can be very useful. Obviously, reverb helps everything, and I'm going to be showing you a couple settings of reverb that I think are helpful. The way I like to use it is not to have it stick out so much, but just kind of fill in the quiet areas in between chord movements and stuff, and that helps fill out the sound and make it sound more full. So what we're going for today is a solo performance. I played this chord melody. It's the chords and the melody of While My Guitar Gently Weeps by the Beatles. I recorded that in one take. It's just a super simple arrangement, and for that reason, I think you can really dive into getting one instrument to sound full. So in this context, we're going to look at that. I talked about the microphones a little bit. The interface I was using is actually an older Focusrite. I got it for $60 a couple years ago. It's just 2 channels. It's the Focusrite Saffire 6, and 2 channels works great for your recording yourself. That's where I recommend you start. If you're playing drums, I'd say at least 4 channels, 8 if you can afford it. And I have a nicer, more high quality interface, but this is just simple. It fits in my desk, and I still use it. It sounds decent. Talking about the program that I use, Logic, that goes for $200, and that's a really good deal. When you think about a lot of the recording software programs that are out there now that are subscription-based, especially like Pro Tools, that stuff is out of the range of the general working musician. So the whole point of this video is to be able to, get a cheap set of mics, a cheap interface, a recording program that's easy to use. It's got a really nice layout, Logic does, so it's easy for people to learn. And the focus is going to be around making music and recording it instead of, going really in depth to everything and spending a whole lot of time. What we as musicians need to be able to do is to record ourselves to promote our own music, our own career, and the focus should be on playing and not becoming a full-time recording engineer. So as we look through this, you're going to notice that I'm using some plugins. These are all plugins that are stock to Logic. So when you buy Logic, if that's your program of choice, these are going to be like the stock compression tools, EQ. I use something called an exciter, which excites the harmonics a little bit and can fill in some top end area that an acoustic guitar is missing, where you would have that filled in by other instruments in a full band mix. Compression obviously is really important, but the reverb plugins in Logic are pretty good. I use a little bit of chorus just to fill it out. You'll notice that I pan some stuff left and right, the 2 microphones, just a little bit to give it more of a stereo image. I use something called a stereo spreader as well, which basically takes your feed that you're getting and it'll divide it up into a couple different sets of frequencies. I go with the maximum number, which is 12, and just very gently it pans say everything between 500 and 600 hertz. It'll pan that to the left, and that just, again, creates a wider stereo image, which when you're playing one instrument, if you're playing by yourself or in a small ensemble, that helps things sound a lot bigger. So we'll flip over to the screen recording now, and you'll be hearing everything as I go along. It's about an 8 or 9 minute process, and in that you'll be seeing all the presets that I'm using in Logic, and hopefully it helps you. Stay tuned to Friday, where I have the full video of this arrangement that I put together coming out. And anyway, hope you enjoy. So I hope that whole thing was helpful for you. If you're a musician, I really think learning to record yourself is really important. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned to this channel for more helpful tips for musicians if you're interested in that. And make sure to check out the full video coming out this Friday, which if it's out already, if you're watching this in the future, you can check it out at the link above me. And I'll see you next time.